Hello guys, how you doing today? This is Art, and today we're going to be doing another video with UVs, but we are gonna crank up a little bit more the difficulty. So in terms of the difficulty that we're doing here with the UVs, we're gonna go inside of the content browser. Now I know that perhaps for you guys doing another weapon, it's a little bit, especially with an assault rifle. But I've gone through everything else, and I think this is the right difficulty to go after the dagger, because it's got a few more shapes that are more squares. Uh, but it's a good. I think it's a good difficulty ramp up. So let's double click this and open this up. And the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to panels, save layouts, and gonna change my face. Perspective UV editor, and we're gonna check to see some of those UVs in here. Now, if I select this and I'll press this button here just to see the grid, right? You will be seeing like, okay, cool, we got some of those squares. If anybody here knows how to make sure that the checker map this updates when I change some of these settings, and you know how to fix this, please let me know, because that would be really useful. I don't know why it doesn't change on my own end. But yeah, let's look a little bit at the distortion with this fella here. So this is just to disable the wireframe for a second, just so we can see and compare this one to the one that we're doing. You can see here that there is some like odd deformation, so I'm not actually a huge fan on the default UVs that this weapon has done in here. Like the way that this is deformed over there, that's really nasty, but also around here. So I think we can do a much better job. I think this kind of UV deformation, I think it's okay maybe with some organic shapes, but something mechanical like this, it's not great in my opinion. All right, so I'm just gonna put that back for a second so we can see the wireframe. And yeah, first step, let's delete the UVs, because we're gonna start this from scratch and we're gonna learn, right? The way that this is done, it is done in 3 different objects. So let's start with the simpler one, this one here. And yeah, super easy. We can do this with expanding this a little bit. There you go. So we can go shift, right click, mapping. And if we look at the gizmos, oh, it's hidden. I don't have the little guy there anymore. That's interesting. So it is the set axis. I'll have to figure out how my guy disappeared there. Cool. So we got that guy there. And we can use the same setting. If we go to the other side here, and we go double click to go around the circle, make it a little bit bigger. Make sure that's going all the way around the edge. Okay, press G to repeat command. And it's not done it. So let's go mapping. Plan out. This music is so chilled, man. It's like making me want to groove and be like, yep, baby. Oh, baby, we're making you this show. I hope you don't mind it. Ooh, I hope you like it. So make sure that you don't miss anything. So we got that little gap there. Now, I'm very happy that we're doing UVs of this cylinder here like this, because the thing that Maya has when you do cylindrical UVs, when the cylinder is rotated the other way, it's a little bit busted. It's a little bit broken. So if I go like that, it will do UVs like this, right? You'll think, oh, that's fine. We can rotate this around, right? But what setting do you have to press? How do you do it? And so you have to click on this guy here, right? But then the right gizmos doesn't work, so you need to like click on this guy here once, and then it shows. It's really buggy. And now this is when I can hold down J for Joker. And now, voila, I can rotate this around the right way. And yeah, we got this guy here. It's not working there very well for some reason, so let me see if that works correctly. Oh, it's still very buggy, I see. And so I'm not doing a great job selling Himaya, right? But click on that guy there. We can make this a little bit more squarish. Yeah, that's fine. When making cylinder kind of stuff like this, yeah, doing the unfold method can be quite fast, but sometimes you're gonna get much more accurate results if you do it this way. Like, you're gonna get more perfect UVs. Now we got this guy done. Sometimes we can just hide it with H to move to the next part a lot easier. Here we do have I'm gonna leave this guy last because we got some interesting parts there, but in terms of complexity, so I'm gonna hide this as well at the time being. But here we've got a bunch. So you have to treat this like a number of different objects. They're mostly cylinders. This guy here, let's go. Yeah, let's increase the selection. So in here, so I'm just gonna select this, make it grow, and you can just go again, go create cylindrical. Do that trick that I would just show you earlier there to tap that. And yeah, it's so interesting, right? How you have to do that to activate it and show, and then tap this again. To be honest, guys, like I learned the hard way very recently. I was like, why is this not working? And it was only very recently that I realized, oh, that's why, because you need to, like, you know, yeah, you see, now that works fine. So we got that there. Let's make that. Move it on the side. We will organize the sizes of everything in a second with the UV layout. So that's usually something that I like to do last. This guy there can be a planner on there. So we got, by the way, it's very easy to select things by accident, and always have a little look around to see that you're not selecting anything weird. Yep. And by the way, guys, like, yeah, I could be doing this a lot faster, but I'm doing it a little bit slower, so you can like follow step by step. So we got now that area there selected. Cool. Again, we can do cylindrical. Okay, now this can be a planner. Alright, for this part here, I think I'm gonna be lazy. I'm just gonna do the whole thing as a cylinder, without worrying too much. Did I miss a part there? I missed the part there. Alright, we got that part there. I'm gonna do again, create. You know what? I'm just gonna be lazy for this one. I'm gonna do it camera based, and I'm gonna pick. So you see this UV seam here. I'm not a huge fan that part there, I've done it there. I would like for this to be actually on the bottom. So I'm just gonna go from here to here. I'm gonna do a cut. Select this. I'm just gonna go unfold. All right. And can you see the problem that I have with these UVs here in contrast to these guys here, right? So this is going to be a lot. It's less distortion versus pixels running across the same distance. So if you think of this, let me put that music down because that's like a little bit too strong. So if you think of this as pixels, it's not going to be running across the same distance. So you're going to have pixels going sideways like this. So say, for example, if this gun had a material that was like a cinematographic kind of effect, it's gonna look weird, like the pixels are not running across the same direction. So this is not going to do for me. So I'm just gonna redo those because I am. It's unfortunate that I am a perfectionist because it means that it's gonna take me a lot longer to do anything. But in this scenario here, I'm gonna be like, no, not on my watch, girl. I'm just gonna be a perfectionist and be like, you know what? I want to have those UVs running in the right distance. And now that's going to make me sleep better at night. I'm gonna be like, this part there, perhaps is the part that I can do a little bit of distortion. Just to make sure that, because that area there, if I'm going to texture, that's gonna look a bit yucky. So that's the area that maybe, yeah, I will do a little bit of distortion. So I'm just gonna grab those UVs there. So that's for the end there. No, that's fine. So it's this guy's here that I'm going to do a little bit distortion. So I'm just gonna grab those UVs and gonna do an unfold, and now that's going to be a little bit better. All right. So let's move on, because apparently I did not pay attention that there's a lot of pieces here, so I might start to crank it up a little bit with the speed. So I'm gonna do this guy there. So cool. Just gonna select those pieces there. And can you see how sometimes I just go pick the middle faces and I just do gross selection with shift and period, and now that's a lot faster. Gonna go cylindrical this time here. I'm just gonna go unfold you, so that's gonna have the right, you know, not gonna worry too much about the size. This guy here, because the way that's like slanted and it's like on an angle, you could do this whole part to be planar with a little bit of a deformation, and that's enough. And I'm holding down the brush tool, which is like tap there. I'm just gonna go that selection, boom, like that. I'm going to do a mapping on the y-axis there, planar map, and I'm just gonna do a unfold, and that's gonna be good enough. Cool. Now this part here, I'm going to use what's it called again? The 6 waves, the automatic waves, and that's gonna be okay. But then I might do it as a box, like I will connect them together as a box. If I go create automatic, I've got all the shapes there, and I might connect them around first. It's gonna look very weird, actually, I reckon. So if I go, this is a very weird shape. I'm having now. Yeah, so this is the thing. Sometimes you'll be like, cool, there will be a lot fewer scenes, and but you see how now all the squares are like having a dance. This is not going to make me happy. So this is where I'm like, not on my watch. And sometimes you need to be like, okay, let's try this guy's here instead. Yeah, that works a bit better. Did you notice what I've done there? Yeah. This is a technique that I've learned very, very recently, not that long ago. So you can say, if you want to connect all of these 4 faces to one thing here, you can just go double click, and then you can just go move everything there, boom, just like that. And now you're gonna have those pixels running down really nicely. And now you can just do a quick unfold like that, just to be sure, and voila. And yeah, especially with architecture kind of stuff, doing UVs like that, it's a time saver with that technique. All right, let's go. I might try to ramp up the speed. This guy here, man, automatic. Just, you know, why cry river? So whenever you're doing any UVs, always think, okay, what the player is going to be looking at. So if you're shooting zombies, and it's not anywhere else, you'll be looking at it first person in this angle there. So you want these UV seams there to actually be the ones that are being connected. So I'm gonna select these fellas here, from here to here. Gonna go move and connect. And I'm also going to be connecting from here. Yes. Where's that? Oh yeah, this guy here, from here to here. Cool. All right, and now we can do the one that's on the back there, maybe connect that one there. If that is on this side there, if it's got that weapon here on the side, maybe this one would be better. You know what? When it comes to texture these days, like hiding seems it's getting easier and easier. Like it's actually pretty hard these days, but still is a good idea to take consideration. Okay, you know, if you got a UV scene that's right in the middle of a face, for example, that's a big like, oh no, you don't want that, right? And then let's do in the top here. Cool. Now, I don't know if you remember when we were looking at the UVs of this, but it was not this, and it was way, 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 way worse. And I was like, no. All right, cool. So we got that part there done. Oh man, wow, this is so hard. I got no idea how I could do this. This is like, I'm being sarcastic, by the way. Cool. Now I'm just gonna go from here to there. There you go. Oh, guys, you know, making UVs is so hard. Sorry. You might need to unpause that and be like, play it again in slow motion or something. This guy here. Yeah, it's still pretty interesting. I'm gonna try something. What I'm gonna do with this guy here, so I'm gonna do the sides there first. And I'm also going to do, maybe I'm gonna select that. Select this. Caramba. Wow, man, this music is so sticky. Alright, so I'm gonna select those two there, grow that. Oh. Okay. Oh, this model's a little bit effy. Gonna go. Cool, so we got those two there. I'm gonna do the same for this fella there, so cannot tell if this is I am. So vertex, going back to faces, grow selection. Gonna do oh my god. Please do not judge me. I will never play this music out of my own rotation, but I guess some music in the background is nice. Do not chat me. Okay, so we got this one here. Cool, put that there. Now, the reason why I decided to make those first is because I'm just gonna select the whole thing. And now with holding control, I can unselect this guys here. So it deselects those faces, right? So I'm using the UVs as to say, okay, deselect these. So I'm doing all those selections there. And I'm going to be using the same procedure, which is to create, and you always have to think like this, okay, how can I make this faster? You can do the whole thing in one go. So I can go cylindrical here now. And this is where I click here once, click here. I'm gonna rotate this now with J, and you see how now it's doing all three parts of the cylinder, right, in one go, right? And just like I was saying earlier, that I was not happy for that. I'm gonna put that in the middle there now, and it's doing it all in one go, right? The only problem is now we need to select all those guys there. Go unfold in the U axis. When it comes to UVs, like these would be bad UVs, right? If you got anything overlapping with the texture, which we're gonna separate later anyways. But just for clarity, I'm gonna move this like this. I might do a unfold both ways just to make sure. Okay, cool. And yeah, that's making me very happy, right? You got nice, perfect squares for that. All right, cool. So this whole thing can also be again done with the all, which is funny because when I teach how to make UVs and I teach how to make UVs, I'm scared to teach the automatic because sometimes I'll get a lot of students that just do everything like this and they go, Ego, the UVs are done. And I'm like, no, those are not good UVs, man. You've got right now 35 shells here just for this. It's like, not on my watch. And they go, oh no, but, why did you fail me? I'm like, no, do it again. And they'll be like, So, let's check to see what are those. So let's put that on the side. You see how I just double click there and I'm like selecting them, moving them on the side just for clarity's sake so I know which ones are which. And I go, cool. So maybe this one here, maybe from here to here, it's going to have the less distortion. So I'm just going to go move and connect. Ah, man, this is... Ooh. This is a complicated shape. So this is one of those shapes where it's like, is it worth doing this or is it not? Is it worth? Like it's gonna be very hard to get a combination of not too much distortion, but also because it is so tiny, it's not gonna really matter. But at the same time, connect that there. Connect this here. So this is like, it's a box, right? But at the same time, it isn't because it's got such weird shapes. So I'm gonna connect that one from here to here. And you see how I'm just like, I'm selecting them. And if you hover, it tells you what's being connected on the other side. So I'm using that as a way to know how things are being connected. And now you can just go unfold. Okay. There is a very slight distortion going around. You see how that's a bit wonky, but because it's so tiny, I don't think anyone's gonna like care too much unless you've got a screenshot where you got shooting someone. It's like really focusing there. You might be like, cool, maybe we need to redo that too, so it looks better. Okay, so these guys here look the most complicated. But let's put that there for a second. Let's see if we can reduce the amount of UV islands. Connect that there. Connect here to here. Let's go. Yeah, sometimes it's good to see this in the 3D view. So connect that there. Then connect this guy here. What do we have left? So this guy there, that's in the inside. I would not stitch this to anything, but I would stitch it to go around the other way. So you see how sometimes it shows white in here? So sometimes you can just select the white and be like, cool. So I want these parts connected. I think this is actually a lot harder than I was expecting. I did not redo the UVs before I started teaching this. I just went, oh yeah, this one looks complicated enough. And now I'm like, oh, this might actually be where is this? It's going up this way. Oh, there's an Engon. Yikes. Bad Maya. Bad Maya. I'm like, why? Why is that? Oh god, it's an Engon. Alright. Never mind. Cool. And we can connect this guy's too, I guess. This part here is not that important because you would never see that because that's hiding underneath of it's like it's clipping inside of the other part of the weapon, I guess. But there you go. Cool. We got UVs done of this part here. And we're almost done. And I'm sorry, this is a 25-minute now on how to do UVs. But I hope that you guys can pause and learn with this, because if you learn how to do UVs with this, you'll go a long way. And we're almost done, because we only have to do this part here. So now this part of the weapon, it is good that we only have one piece, but we need to treat this as several pieces. So I would do a UV seam here, and I would treat this as another cut there, right? But I might also use this as an opportunity to teach you how to do mirror UVs. So you only have to do UVs once, and then you duplicate it across. And we're gonna do this again in the next video in a day or two. So what I recommend is if you go like that, so that's deleting one side of the, ooh, let's not do that. Okay, so let's go maybe left view, not view, left view, front view. Cool, so I'm just gonna select this like that. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is sometimes you would only do this with models that are perfectly symmetrical. If they're both exactly the same on both sides, you only need to do UVs of one side and then you mirror it across, right? So that's what I've done first, is delete one side and then do the UVs of one side as nice as possible. And then after that, yeah. So, all right, so in this case, I'm just gonna go back here, go select all of that, create camera based. Cool. I'm gonna do the cuts where I know. This is a new shortcut that I've learned that I can't believe. It's weird, like the more I teach, the more I learn as I'm teaching with stuff, because sometimes I'll be like, oh, I don't need to learn this, and then I was, you know, it's Shift Control X. With anything you've got selected, it will make an island, so it will cut it. So if you go select a bunch of faces that you want to cut, just Control Shift X, and it will split it out into its own thing. So this is like, think of this as an arm and a leg. Like it's nice to like cut it into pieces like that when you do UVs. This guy here, it's very interesting because we got this weird stuff here. And we also have this weird lip, which I think we might need to split in here. So let's treat that very last as an experiment. But here, you could just go unfold, right? And let's have a conversation on what's going on around here. That's going around the loop and around the loop here, right? So you're gonna get some weird distortions if you don't make some cuts. Think of it as a box. So I'm gonna select these two guys here, and I'm gonna select this here as well. So if I make a cut here and there, and now I go unfold, it's gonna let it breathe. So sometimes things are like a little bit like weird, skewy. Just make a few cuts wherever there is like borders. If things go in really weird shapes, and then doing an unfold is going to be much better. So that's, in my opinion, now really, really good. And I'm gonna do the same with this part here. So I'm just gonna go here. Gonna go this part and this part there to make a cut. And you'll see how much all of this is gonna separate, and it's gonna try to confold itself. So now if I go unfold, you see, it's like, it's like going out for some fresh air. Now, this part here, I'm almost scared to teach you how to do UVs with this part here. I'm almost like, I'm not even sure how to teach you this. I would be able to do the UVs of this myself quite easily, but teaching you guys how to do this in a way that's structured is gonna be interesting. So I'm just gonna grab this, treat this area here as a 4 ways, or automatic ways, I mean. And now I'm just gonna treat this as a box. So I'm just gonna go select those guys there and just go connect. So we got that fella there. Cool. Moving on. I might do something similar for pretty much everything, but yeah, I'm gonna see what happens if I do the automatic here. And then I might do a little bit of stitching. Yeah, you see, I'm not a huge fan like this part here. Yeah, let's undo that for a second, do a little bit of thinking. Let's see what happens if we do a unfold. Unfold. Oh, that sucked. So you see this part there? It's gonna try to conform, but not. So I'm gonna treat this as a separate piece. So I'm gonna cut all of this part there and make it its own, because I think that should be its own separate thing, and I don't think there's anything that anyone can do about that. Like, that just needs to be separate and relaxed. So if I go unfold, you see how that's a lot better. And if I select this guys now and I do unfold, it's gonna unfold a lot nicer as well. But you see how that part there, it's now not a green. So this is the part here where maybe I need to split this part here. So I'm gonna select all that around and I'm gonna cut it. And sometimes, yeah, sometimes it's a good idea to make UVs this way in a much simpler manner. And then after that you've cut it into pieces and you have unfold everything, then that's gonna give you a much better understanding. Unfold. Cool. Yeah, let's do that for now. And then after that we can understand a bit better how to recombine pieces, because that part there, don't agree with that at all. So sometimes I might need to move those separately. This is the part that maybe I wish that I actually did this ahead, so I'm like a lot more prepared. But I also like doing tutorials on the go, so I feel a bit more genuine. So if I've got a problem, I can show how to fix that problem ahead. Okay, let's have a look to see that now. What's this here now? So I think that should unfold not too bad, and the top part there should unfold just fine. But this is the part here that I would maybe have that separate, and then see if we do those as a cut. See how everything else unfolds without that. Yeah, you see how much straighter that is now. So this part here could maybe fit a lot nicer up there, but then this guy is going to be left out. So I think I might do this as a separate fella. So if I go here, connect, and then this part here, this is where I would pull these guys and push this out a little bit, right? So then they're not overlapping with each other when you're doing the texturing. I don't think there's not much that I can do about it. And then this guy here could maybe connect with this guy here. And I think there's not much that we can do. That should be a separate part there. This is the part here that maybe it is worth to combine this here and not worry too much about distortion. So sure, we can just unfold that there. Sometimes it's bad modeling. I would say that bad modeling of this, the way that's being modeled, it's more at fault than the capacity of you doing good UVs or bad UVs. So okay, now that we've got this is now the part where it's like, cool, so what if we mirror this and we fix, like, now we have to connect the parts that are in the middle there, like here above as well in here. So this is where now I'm gonna show you this really cool trick, and we're gonna do this again in a few future models. So we are sitting now 35 minutes. Yikes. So let's try to finish this soon. So for the mirror on the wall, so we are mirroring this on the x-axis. So you need to go, and yeah, don't move this around because it has to sit in that same axis. So we're gonna go shift right click mirror, and it's gonna give us this option. Say we need to go to the for me is the opposite direction. You have to make sure that in the merge border, you've got this number kind of small. So let's say 0.01 or something like that, really tiny. And have a look to see in the border around that is not doing any weird blending or any weird, like, if you got something like that, oh, it's fine with me now, but yeah, always have a look to see that's not doing any weird blending or anything like that. So we got all those parts there. Now the thing is, the UVs here, right? Now they are overlapping on top of each other. So if I move that there, you got one side and you got the other side there. You got both sides of the same coin. If you want to not get confused, they're both going to be now purple. So you got the red side, that's the back faces, and then you got the front faces there. So that's essentially what's been happening. So we saved essentially a fair bit of time just doing both sides. So what you can do now, if you go inside of the UV toolkit, there is a selection by type. And then you have to click back facing. And what that's going to do, it's going to select anything that's in the red. So it's going to go select just guys over there. Then after that you do that selection, this is where you have to go inside of transform. And then you have to do a flip. So now that's flipping all the other side. And this is where now we can just go, all right, put that there. The reason why it's important to do this is if we start connecting some of these parts. So if I go in here like that, for example, and I connect that, if they are not mirrored, then it might be weird. So we got that guy there. That's done. That's one. Let's see what other parts are in the middle there. Maybe we want to blend, so we can go from here to here. Cool. So it's got those areas selected. Blend. Cool. So we got this guy there. Sometimes I like to do a re-unfold, just to be sure. What other areas did I select? This guy there. Go unfold. Cool. There was this part here at the front. So we can go from here to here, double click, and go connect. Cool. So we got now this guy here is unfold. Same unfold. Make sure that that's all nice. I remember. Yeah, we could maybe connect those two as well. Where is that? Oh no, girl. No, we cannot connect those. Hell no. What about this guy's here? Oh yeah, we could connect that, but that now that's gonna be a really weird shape, so I don't know if I want to do that. Yeah, so sometimes shapes like this, it might not be useful because now you're gonna have a really weird shape, and so to make a Tetris in the layout to make this fit, it might not work. So I'm just gonna split that out. So that's gonna be a lot easier to Tetris-fry, like to fit into places. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think that's gonna be useful to split to different areas. This guy there, remember that, yeah, we could definitely connect those in the middle there. Yeah. I hope that what I'm doing here is not too crazy. I hope that it makes sense. What's this guy here? So this is another mirror. Ooh. So yeah, if you're shooting someone and you're going boom, 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 and this is like the UV layer there. So maybe I want to connect from this here, from here to here. So now if I connect that, unfold, unfold. And yeah, if you compare to the ones that they were existing, they were so bad. I think this is going to be way better. Cool. So yeah, Control 1 to unselect. So I think now this is the part that we need to make sure that we can fit all of these pieces in here. So this is now the layout. 40 minutes. This is taking a lot longer than I thought. I'm so sorry, but I hope you guys are learning with me. Let's do this one too. Let's do a flippy, flappy, flu. And now let's see in here what is the biggest part. And by biggest, I mean like the longest. So I would say that's the longest there. So let's try to make this a little bit smaller, move it on the side. And I would say that, yeah, this is the longest and the biggest piece. So if I had to fit this in here, and let's say I'll fold this way. And let's say, okay, cool. So if we can fit this in here, that's taking a lot of space. So let's make it a little bit smaller, like, yay. Cool. Let's say that that's gonna be a good size to fit everything in there. Let's now grab that textile density. So now let's say 20 to keep things set. So now let's say that everything has got 20 pixels per centimeter. So now I'm gonna grab all those fellas and I'm gonna do set. And yeah, I think that's going to be enough. And usually the way that I like to do this is I like to grab the bigger pieces. I'm gonna put that there. Cool. So I'm just gonna go put that there maybe. And a lot of people like to just to grab everything and go layout. But I find that there is a lot of scripts out there that can do it for you and will do a much better job. But I also find that, yeah, they rotate all the shells in crazy ways. I prefer for things to be as straight as possible. Because like I said already a few times, like if the UVs, if the pixels of the UVs are a little bit like rotated in weird ways, then the pixels are not gonna run across nicely. The other thing that's important, right, is sometimes it's a good idea to block things together. So for example, all these pieces, I would put these together in the same cluster. So then I know, all right, cool. So this is all belonging to the same mesh or the same weapon. So it's got very similar materials as well, right? So I'm gonna put everything that's in here kind of together. Like so. Put this one here. Maybe we'll see. Yeah, alright. We'll figure that out in a second. Anything that's like, so that's its own thing there. I think there is a way to do layout. Like you do layout like that and then set and that's cool. Let's put all of that together as well. There was a software called, I think it was called UV Layout actually, or something like that. That was really good script. The problem that I find with scripts like that is there's a lot of friction moving back and forward. They sometimes have scripts to make the moving back and forward a lot easier. But the other problem that I do have that kind of like sits on top of everything else is that as a freelancer, if you're going from computer to computer to computer to computer, you're moving around, software to software, kind of becomes tedious eventually to move all the settings around and across. So that's one problem that I've been having with using that many different softwares and tools and plugins. But the other problem that I do have is, yeah, like for example, where I work at the moment, I use 4 different computers. Like I use this computer, then I use the computer in my office, and then I teach in 2 different classes. So if I'm using a million plugins with shortcuts and everything, like, you know, like if I update one shortcut or if I update one plugin, I'll go to the next computer and I'll be like, I don't have this plugin installed here, or I don't have this shortcut installed here either. And then eventually I'm just like, you know what, I just use everything to the vanilla default. Yes, I'm going to be a lot slower than someone that just uses one computer, one place all the time. Yeah. The other problem that I do have is if you do update Maya or any software or anything like that, then what do? You know? So I'm gonna try to see if I can, anything that's got to do with that. Okay, so that's putting the things together. Sometimes with organizing this kind of thing, sometimes you don't know how to organize it the best unless... So that belongs there. Cool. Sometimes you don't know how to organize it best until you do a first pass. And then after that, that's when you go, okay, we just put everything together now. Okay, so that's all that one piece there. But I still think that I'm not doing a great job here. I still think that this could be much better, but let's keep on organizing this. Let's with this one, I guess. So where's this one here? Okay, so I think that part there should be together with this. And yeah, you want the UVs to be... It's tricky, man, because you need to do something that's very organized and compact, but it has to be very legible. It has to be very easy to understand. Oh, this is this, this is that. You need to make sure that it takes the most amount of pixels. So if this is a texture, it has to be as crisp as possible. But then again, it's like you don't want any deformation, so things have to look like, you know, so it's like there is so many things to consider that you will never get absolutely perfect pixels in consideration with everything, right? So I think in games, there was a time where they would distort heavily their UVs so they could fit more things, right? Or for example, this part here, you know, this is a weird trick, but one thing that I could do is go, you know what? Maybe scale this slightly so it just fits in there, right? And then, you know, yeah, the textile density of this might be a little bit smaller, but now it fits in there, right? This part here, for example, this is very long. So another thing I could do is just cut it in half. Right, maybe put it like that. Alright, cool. I'm just gonna move this here. We're getting there, guys. We're getting there. Now this is the part where I'm like, you know what? Just shove things however you can. Wherever you can, however you can. Cool. That. Oh, where can I fit this? Just fit it. Like maybe if that goes there, rotate it slightly. This is my least favorite part of making UVs, I would say, is making things fit. You'll be like, oh, you know, and then you just go back and forward. And sometimes I'll open it the next day and I'll be like, oh, you know what, this is not great. I can fit more things in there, or I could have moved this here, moved that there, you know. And then sometimes you'll be like, oh man, I could have put it in here. And then, all right. So I think we got. So what is this from? Okay, it doesn't matter. I think now this is the part where, you know what, just fit things where you can. Put that in there, maybe. Oh, oh. All right, just gonna scale it down slightly. There you go. Done. Put it there. Sure. All right. So now this is the part where let's see how we can move this around. to fit as close as possible with everything else. All right, now I'm just gonna start moving everything in here. And I'm gonna show you a very cool trick, because you must be thinking, man, there's a lot of empty space here. So I'm gonna try to put everything as close as possible to this square. So I'm gonna move all of these around. I'm not gonna care too much about what is what anymore. I'm just gonna try to retrofit with some of these empty areas now. So if we got this elongated plate thing here. Oh, great. Put that in there. Oh my god, I'm doing another gigantic long video, man. Jesus. I don't know how I can edit this, to be honest. I'll make it shorter. Alright, cool. Put this in here. Alright, cool. Alright, so this is the part now that we could maybe put that there and maybe put this here. Yeah, I'm not too sure how much more can I pack in this, but say that you have got all these UVs now here done. If you want to increase everything to take this space, you can select them all like this, and then hold down D to move the pivot point, and then hold down X to snap to the grid. And now I can snap it here, and while that's there, I can scale that, and now I can scale it to make everything big from that corner. Sometimes I might be like, okay, cool, so like, let's see if I can make it yay big. And this is going to be a little bit strange, but sometimes I'll be like, okay, cool, so what if I started rotating things around this way? Oh, I don't know what I pressed there, but that was cool that I took that out. Actually, I want that back. And now this is my baby, the part where I'll go, okay, cool, let's see how I can move things around a little bit to take more space. That corner there. And be like, all right, cool. So it's almost like you're doing the reverse in the other side. And then go like, okay, cool. So let's put that there maybe, or let's move some of these guys this way. I think I will stop in a second and call it a day. Or maybe pause this until I'm like, okay, so this is now done. And this is what it looks like, yada, yada, yada. In a second, because otherwise, I think you guys got the idea with this. Gonna start now moving things around a little bit. I'm not a huge fan that that's sideways, but that's just to fit in there as much as possible. The thing is, yeah, this could be done a lot much better, but I might... And when you've got weird shapes like this, sometimes it's nicer to just cut it where it might be inconvenient. So let's have a look to see here. So I might just cut it around there, just go cut. And now that's going to be a little bit easier to fit somewhere else. Okay. So this is the part where I might pause the video for a minute, because now it's 55 minutes long, and show you like, okay, so now this is me moving it around a bit more and fitting it a bit better to show you like, okay, so now this is organized and it's fitting a bit better, because there's still a lot of empty areas. Like you see how there's a lot of empty spaces here and here and here. And I still think that this can be done a lot better. So I'll be back in 1 second and show you like, okay, so this is what it's like, a much nicer UV layout. Yeah. Sorry. So yeah, I just wanted to show what I've done. So I just needed to focus a little bit and think, okay, so it's a little bit whenever you do the layout of UV, sometimes it's like a puzzle. And I just needed to like stop for a minute and think, okay, how can I organize this a little bit better to put everything to fit as much as possible. You still got some open areas. I think the only way that I could have gone around is cutting more UVs or have more UV islands, or just like start distorting some of the things. But what I did is this area here, anything that was like very square-like, I've put them together and I clustered together first in order to understand a bit easier, okay, so how much can I fit? And then after that, I use these 3 pieces to try to put them together as close as possible. I think that, you know, I could have done a lot better. I could spend another hour or two trying to like put them a bit closer and just make them a bit more organized. But I think this, as a demonstration, I think this is enough. So if you go show in here, viewport, and then you go selection highlighting, so you can see how everything has got the same density as well, and everything looks really nice here. So yeah, this is done. UV is done for the assault rifle. For the next one, I recommend just very similar with what we've done with the mirror, with this piece here, with the mirror. I recommend you don't need to wait for me. You can do one of these animals. The wasp might be a bit complicated. Maybe start with a fish or shark or whale or dolphin. And then after that, do something, okay, like a cat or like a bull. Like you don't need to wait for me to make one of these. However, yeah, I hope that was a good exercise to make some UVs. It's a little bit more technical than I thought it was gonna be, but yeah, if you like this video and you have learned a bunch on how to make some UVs, make sure that you subscribe or like this video. It helps a lot. I do put a fair bit of time doing this video, so yeah, make sure that you follow me. And if you got any recommendations on what kind of videos you would like to hear or see, or if there's anything you're not sure about and you're like, hey, how do you do X or Y, or I've got this problem, how can I do this? Most likely I've got the workflow for you. You'd be surprised how many times a student would be like, oh my god, I've been doing this for hours and I don't know how to do it. And sometimes I'll be like, oh cool, you can use this technique and it will take you 2 minutes. And they'll be like, oh my god, I wish I knew this earlier, you know? So I can be that man as well. Okay, I'll see you guys soon, and yeah, happy UVing.